Joining me now is senior Aam Aadmi Party leader Yogendra Yadav. Appreciate your joining us, Yogendra. Just want to know right at the very start, are you today feeling a bit let down, feeling that all the efforts you might have put have come to waste, the manner in which this has taken place, has it left a bitter taste in your mouth, Yogendra Yadav?
Rajdeep, I have some difficulty in hearing you, but I got the gist of your question. There's a lot of echo in what you are saying, but let me answer the question. I should begin by saying that the party has decided that we would not get into the specific of yesterday's meeting, so I'm constrained not to speak about that. About being hurt or the larger implications of what we are looking at, I don't take these things personally, Rajdeep. Since the day before yesterday, 4 days ago, I've been saying there are lots and lots of people in my party who deserve much more than I do to be in a body like the PAC. And if the two of us move out, I mean, so many people have worked without any position of power in our party. And so if the two of us are not there, that's really not a major issue. And if this entire thing serves to focus on, attention on some of the bigger questions that we have raised, I think the purpose is very well served.
Do you get a sense, Yogendra Yadav, the manner in which this has happened? The manner in which this happened, the manner in which they virtually seem to be a silent coup, if I may be allowed to use that word, against you and Prashant Bhushan, where Mr. Kejriwal said it's either them or me. Has that left a bitter taste? I'm just looking at the letter that Mayank Gandhi, your senior leader, has written, and he's making it clear that that people like him were opposed to the manner in which you were removed, and yet in the end, Mr. Kejriwal made it clear it's them or me.
I read Mayank Bhai's letter, but as I said, we agreed yesterday that we would not discuss the proceedings of the meeting. So while Mayank Bhai has written about it, I have read his things, but I'm not, I wouldn't be able to comment about that very much, except to say something very general. In the last instance, truth prevails. Truth cannot be buried. That is bound to come out.
So the truth which has come out is that Arvind Kejriwal wanted you out. He wanted Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan out so that the Political Affairs Committee functioned in a manner which was seen to be more coherent. The fact is Arvind Kejriwal wanted you out. That's the truth which has come out, and Mr. Mayank Gandhi has revealed that in this blog. I know you don't want to reveal the proceedings of the meeting itself, but Mr. Gandhi, who's a senior leader, has come out with the truth as he sees it.
Rajdeep, it's best if you ask Mayank about it, or I mean, you're such a senior journalist and nothing in Delhi happens without your getting a sense of it. So I would leave it to you to find out and to report. I won't be able to either confirm or deny what you're saying.
Let me then look at one of those larger questions. You don't want to get into the specifics, but the fact is what this seems to show up is that this is either an Arvind Aam party. This is a one-man show now, and there is no democracy. All of you claim that you are against the high command culture of the Congress party, the manner in which the BJP was run allegedly by the RSS. The fact is that here you have an individual who seems to decide. At least that's what the impression that I get as a political observer.
I heard many of these descriptions and I was very sad. In fact, more than any news, it was this bit that made me truly feel sad and awkward and embarrassed as someone who belongs to this party. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to judge a party or a movement by one event. I think it's presumptuous on the part of two persons to think that they represented conscience. You know, these words were used, conscience keepers of the party and so on. I think it would be presumptuous for anyone to assume that two persons did that. Their departure actually becomes the moment when the party takes a turn for the worse and things of this kind. I can understand people's concern, but I have something positive to say, which is that over the last 5 days, Rajdeep, and especially in the last less than 24 hours or so since the news broke, I have got so many messages, SMS, email, messages in my Facebook, everywhere, expressing sadness, expressing solidarity, expressing support for some of the principles that we have been talking about. And that gives me hope, that gives me faith. And that makes me continue to believe that this Aam Aadmi Party is different from any other party because it's volunteer driven. In the last instance, in this party, you cannot ignore volunteers. They have a say, they are loud, they express their feelings, they don't fear anyone. And I have faith in them more than in people like me.
You still have faith in Arvind Kejriwal?
Why not, Rajdeep? Arvind has acquired a certain stature in our politics. Arvind today is an icon of honest politics in our country. And my sense is that big occasions and big responsibilities make big persons out of ordinary mortals like us. Arvind has taken a bigger view. He has shown exceptional abilities in terms of political acumenship, in terms of his ability to have his fingers on the pulse of public opinion, and confronted with a big moment, he has always taken big decisions, and my sense is that he would continue to do so, one or two minor lapses apart.
But let me be honest, if the BJP was to do, if Narendra Modi was to have taken a similar decision, let's say to remove two senior leaders, you would have called him a dictator. Is Arvind Kejriwal not also showing dictatorial tendencies? Is that not the concern? You use the word embarrassed. I will repeat, as a political observer, doesn't this entire episode suggest dictatorial tendencies emerging within the Aam Aadmi Party? If Mr. Modi did it, as I said, you'd call him a dictator.
I wouldn't draw such strong conclusions based on one event, based on departure of just two persons, and that too from one of the committees. It doesn't change the decision-making structure in the party radically. There are different moments, there are different bodies, and as I said, I wouldn't draw such strong conclusions based on one specific thing, and that too something concerning me.
I want you to cross your heart and tell me honestly, did you or did you not at any stage conspire against Arvind to the extent that you did not want him to stay on as national convener of the party? That is the principal charge made against Prashant Bhushan, who it is accused had threatened multiple times to hold press conferences against the party, and the charge against you is that you were conspiring to remove Arvind as national convener. I want you to cross your heart, as someone who claims to represent honesty in politics, did you at any stage conspire to remove Arvind Kejriwal as national convener? Let's end this once and for all here.
Rajdeep, this is really like being asked, Rajdeep Sardesai, did you pick the pocket of your colleague in the office? You would first say, Chodo yaar, kahan kiya hai? Second time you would say, alright, I mean, if you really believe so, give me some evidence. And third time when someone says so, you would say, what is happening? What's your problem? At no stage, either formally or informally, I ever raised this question, and I did not raise it because I think this is not appropriate, because Arvind is the natural leader of the party. He deserves to lead the party. He today is an icon of the party, and even if he is the chief minister, in fact I had said that in discussions leading up to the national executive to many people, even if he is a chief minister, at the moment it is critical for the party that someone like him remains as the head, as our icon, as our representative.
But AAP leaders say they have evidence.
This is an opinion I've articulated very often.
AAP leaders say they provided evidence, including
there is none.
Including going to the extent of sting operations carried out on phone conversations. I'm just wondering, what kind of a party is it that carries out sting operations between journalists and their colleagues? I mean, that doesn't happen as yet in my office. It could well happen anywhere. I know, but it seems to happen in the Aam Aadmi Party. And they provided this evidence apparently.
Rajdeep, in the name of evidence, there are three things. One is a conversation of someone who worked with me, with someone who has worked independently, their conversation about the opinion of this person who worked with me. These are not my opinion. No one at any stage claims that. And the person concerned denies that in writing. Anyway, that's one. It never involves me. Remember that. The second bit of evidence is Shanti Bhushan ji expressing his opinion to the effect that Yogendra should become convener in a meeting of 15 persons. Now, how does Shantiji's opinion become mine? And then, in all fairness, the evidence once presented originally, also the person who was presenting the evidence said Yogendra denied it there, but it wasn't strong enough. So Shantiji has an opinion. I immediately said, Shantiji, kya baat kar rahe hain? Kya relevance hai is baat ki? That is an evidence that I was conspiring. And third evidence is an evidence of a journalist, of my speaking to a group of journalists about, allegedly, about Haryana elections and the manner in which the decision making took place. Whatever, even if that evidence was 100% correct, it is not about Arvind Kejriwal being national convener or not. And as you know, by now journalists who were there in that meeting have denied it. There's an article in Karma which gives blow-by-blow account of what happened on the breakfast table that day. And if that does not satisfy anyone, I don't know. Honestly, it's like this. If someone says, Rajdeep, you are in the habit of picking people's pocket. If someone says it for the sixth time, what would you do? You would throw your hands up and say, all right.
No, I would say then they just want Mr. Yogendra Yadav to get out of the party. That they don't like your face. That there are people close to Arvind Kejriwal who either feel threatened by you or feel that you are someone who is not acting in the best interest of the Aam Aadmi Party. That's all I can say.
Rajdeep, all I can do is to respond to specific things which were said, and and this is, Rajdeep, incidentally.
Are you hurt? That's what I'm coming. I mean, you sound to me.
This is something which happened in August and September.
You sound to me. Sorry to intervene. You sound to me like someone who's simply almost caged. You find yourself in a cage, dying to break free, and you're not able to really say what's in your heart. Are you feeling hurt that you're being asked these questions again and again? You're being called a conspirator.
On that I can respond. Nothing in my code involves me not to answer this question. I don't want to answer questions about what happened in the meeting yesterday. That I'm bound by certain rules of the party. About being hurt, of course, Rajdeep, who would not be hurt? If someone says, Rajdeep, your article was wrong, you would say, all right. If someone says your opinions are wrong, you would argue. But if someone says you were cheating, and if someone goes on saying that over and over again, you would say, what's happening here? Yes, it hurts, but then you come to public life, you begin to get used to being asked all kinds of questions. Remember, when I was a candidate, there was all this controversy about my name. The whole thing was so below the belt. And I guess that's probably why people of a certain kind either do not enter public life, or even once they do, they quietly, gracefully make an exit. That's not what I'm going to do. That's what I'm learning, Rajdeep. I'm learning to cope with these things. This is not what I'm used to. I'm not yet developed a thick skin. I don't want to develop a thick skin. But how do you handle things of this kind, except to close your eyes and say, all right, if you want to do something, to follow some big goals, if you want to follow your conscience till the end, you got to face all this. So you strengthen yourself. I'm learning, Rajdeep.
You're learning. Will that learning be within the Aam Aadmi Party, or do you see now yourself leaving the party, maybe being part of something like a National Association of People's Movement, the kind that a Medha Patkar is, associate yourself with movements which you believe will perhaps give you more satisfaction, get out of formal politics? Is that an option that you're looking at?
Certainly not, Rajdeep. I have been a part of all these movements that you talk about, and I continue to be a part of them for the last 3 decades. When I came to politics, I came with a deep conviction that the goals of these movements, these struggles, could be realized only and only through politics. Politics is the Yug Dharma. That's my deep conviction. What I'm doing today, in a sense, my life so far, Rajdeep, was a preparation for what I'm doing today. Yes, some of it is very painful. It seems this is not what I came here for. There are times when you feel, what am I doing here? But I guess this is necessary. This is a essential condition. There's this
an Agni Pariksha. It seems like an Agni Pariksha.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Urdu sher is exactly that. Aag ka darya hai aur doob ke jana hai. That's probably what it is. So one has to learn to go through that, Rajdeep. But in this moment, I should also say there are lots and lots of volunteers, and their words act like balm. That has kept me going.
Will your party split? Will your party split? Will there be now two AAPs? AAP Kejriwal, AAP Yadav Bhushan. That generally happened. That's what happened with the Janata Party. It split amoeba-like into various groups, factions. Is that what is going to happen to Aam Aadmi Party? Is this going to be history repeating itself, Yogendra Yadav?
No, Rajdeep, Aam Aadmi Party represents hopes and aspirations of millions of this country. They are the real owners of this party, not people like me or Prashant, Bhushan or anyone else. And they should be guiding us. Their pressure and their direction should be supreme. I do not, and I see absolutely no reason why a party should split merely because two people are not there in one decision-making body. That's not really a question. And as you know, something I kept saying yesterday before the meeting, and I would say again, na todenge, na chodenge, sudhrenge aur sudharenge. That's my motto.
Let me then ask you in conclusion, you know, in this conversation also I've seen moments where you seem to be struggling to come to terms with what has happened. You seem to be getting emotional about what has happened. Have you shed a tear privately or publicly at what has happened? That, you know, bichhad gaye sathi, you know, the people who are with you seem to have departed. Many believe this is Arvind Kejriwal's politics over the years. A lot of people who are close to him, whether in his NGO movement, now in his politics, have left him over time. Have you got, I mean, are you finding it difficult to come to terms with what has happened in the last 24 hours?
You know, our cultural ideal is that of sthit pragya, which is what my father taught me. One should be unaffected by success, failure, all these things. I don't manage to practice it very well, as you can see on the screen right now, but I try.
You're trying, you're making a very brave attempt, I can tell you, Yogendra Yadav. You know, I asked you the other day a question about the criticism that Yogendra Yadav is a meaty churi. Whenever I ask people who are close to Arvind Kejriwal, what is your problem with Yogendra Yadav? He seems like the kind of intellectual you need in your party. They say that is okay for television. For us, he is someone who is conspiring against us. And that word keeps coming back. I'm just wondering.
The trouble, Rajdeep, is that it's very hard for people to believe that one can be straight. And if one is consistently straight, it looks like a deep conspiracy, because we are simply not used to people who play straight all the time. My only hope is that while there are misunderstandings in the short term, in the long run, people get to see that somebody is indeed playing straight. It happens with time. I have patience, because in politics and public life, unless you have patience and unless you are willing to set your egos aside, you cannot do something big. Your questions seem to indicate that it's a parting of ways between Arvind and us. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think politics and time has ways of changing everyone. All of us learn. Arvind will learn. We will learn. Why not?
And just like you are a political scientist in your training, I am a journalist in my training, so I will ask one last time. Do you want to cross your heart and say you've never done anything in the last few months to undermine the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal?
Rajdeep, Aam Aadmi Party is not just a party. It is an article of faith. It is something so many people of this country have created.
But so many people today are also laughing at it. So many people are saying this is back to the Janata Party. So many people are saying, oh God, the first government collapsed because of Kejriwal walking away. Now it's collapsing because the party seems to be splitting apart. You are claiming to be a party with a difference.
Let's not get into it.
You're turning out to be a party with differences.
Rajdeep, there is no party in the world which does not have differences, and let's not get into government collapsing because of these things. That's a sort of quite an overstatement of anything. There are differences, there are crises, and a great movement or a great party can convert crises into opportunities. I know for most journalists and many of us, some of my friends, it looks like a story that's over. But I continue to believe that there is a future here, and I have deep faith in the future of Aam Aadmi Party, because it is a party unlike any other party. It has volunteers, people who have sacrificed everything in their life, they have come here. And when you asked me, can I put a hand on my heart and say I've never damaged this party, Rajdeep, for me, working with these volunteers has been one of the finest moments of my life.
Right.
And to betray them is like betraying your family, your parents, your mother. That's
And since
not
I like-
a question one thinks about.
And since I like Hindi film songs and you gave me a Hindi film song the other day, let me give you one. Kya se kya ho gaya? What is your song that you would like to give to represent the condition of the Aam Aadmi Party today?
I can't match you in your choice of songs. All I can say is, don't reach these conclusions so soon. Kya se kya ho gaya, tere pyar mein. I think it's a lovely line. I like the song, but it may be too soon, too premature for all of us to jump to those conclusions.
Okay. Yogendra Yadav, thank you very much for joining us. We will see how this soap opera plays out in the days ahead. We wish you well in whatever you decide to do. Thank you very much for joining us.